My name is Tamás Jászay, and I am from Hungary. Hungary, as you might know, is in Central Eastern Europe, right in the middle of the old continent, Europe. And well, it's quite difficult to answer this very easy question, what am I doing? Because as many of my colleagues, I do a lot of things. I do wear a lot of hats, as they used to say. But mainly, I'm a theater critic, and I teach at a university. I deal mostly with theater studies and drama history, theater history, theater theory as well. So stuff like this. So teaching and writing, I would say that these are the two most important fields right now in my life. But I also curate or co-curate small or mid-scale festivals here in Hungary, performing arts festivals. So somehow we can say that I'm also interested in the making or managing, in a way, performing arts. And I also do theater studies as a researcher. My main interest, which came to me in the last years, because of many reasons, but I think most of all by chance, is the history of the Hungarian independent performing arts groups in the last 3, 4, 5 decades. You also asked about the situation of criticism in Hungary, which is a very very big topic. So put it very simply, I think we can say that arts criticism, and especially theater criticism, is not important. Not important in Hungary. How can I say it so easily? So if you take a daily newspaper, if you check it out, if you check out the culture section, even like 10 or 15 years ago, there was a whole culture section with theater reviews, with reviews on classical music concerts, on the new movies, and so on and so on. Today, if there is only a section on culture and arts in any newspaper, it's very reduced, and it's only a very small section, unfortunately. Many critics and many magazines or journals moved to the online space, and I think there are new challenges in the online space, comparing it to the printed era of theater criticism. New challenges, of course, new possibilities as well. And somehow, you know, here in Central Europe, arts and theater and well, even journalism somehow needs state funding. So there is not a working culture of sponsorship here in Hungary, but we need a state subsidy to survive. I mean arts and culture in general. So all the theaters, all the big orchestras, all the museums can work only with the help of the state, and I mean mostly financial help. But for example, criticism, arts criticism, it's not a priority. It's not important. And you know, many of the decision makers still think that, okay, you can publish anything on the internet, on the online space. It's not a real job. It's you know, it's not like something when you when your article is printed, but you just go online and you type something and it's published, but it's not work. Well, that's a misunderstanding, and that's a very cynical approach, I think, because although many of the criticisms today is not printed, due to the rise of energy prices and the printing costs and so on, and the paper costs, of course. So many of the criticism, or big part of criticism, is not printed. It's still a work, and it's still a hard job to go to theater every night, to watch shows, to go home, write about them, and not just impressions, but professional, to share a professional opinion with the audience interested. There is also a very interesting form that comes from the English-speaking countries, the so-called embedded criticism, which means that there is a critic who follows very, very closely a rehearsal period of a certain work, and he's not someone who only goes to the opening night and then he or she goes home and writes his or her review, but he's there for the whole time with the company, with the ensemble, and he sees everything, and he knows a lot, much more about the creation, about the process of creation. And it's it's an insider's view in a way. That's why it is called embedded criticism. But he or she won't be on stage. She won't be an actor, an actress, but somehow he or she is part of the production. And I think it's also a challenge, because many of us, even in my generation, I mean, many of theater critics think, or we were socialized that our job is to go to the opening night, most probably, watch the show, go home, not to speak with any of the actors or actresses, not to get in contact with the director, go home, sit at your laptop or notebook and write your opinion, and that's all. But I think in today's world, or in contemporary world, criticism is also changing, and somehow we have to face with these challenges. And if it's a way, if it's a channel to reach new readers, young readers, to encourage them to deal with theater, to get or to jump deep into the world of theater, then why not? Then we have to try it. And the other thing is that it's my impression, it's a personal impression, that even the creators, the artists, especially the very young generation, who are in their 20s or end of their 20s, they want dialogue. They want an active dialogue between the critics and between them. I cannot say, but I do expect a lot of new experiences. And as far as I try to read more about KYOTO Experiment, I think it's guaranteed. I also follow the Facebook page, of course, and I try to get information about all the shows and exhibitions and installations and everything what is going to happen with us in October, and I simply can't wait. So I'm very, very curious, and I strongly have the feeling that this 1 month or almost 1 month I'm going to spend in Japan, and especially in Kyoto, it will be a perfect introduction to Japanese theater and Japanese culture. So I can just repeat myself that I can't wait to be there with you.